KMES English Medium Junior College welcome its 12th standard student for the online lecture of philosophy for chapter 2nd. What is the cause? For the topic, the notion of cause in Western philosophy. Students, in today's lecture, we are going to study the second chapter, What is the Cause? The topic that we are going to cover in this lecture is the notion of cause in Western philosophy. The view of the Western philosopher Aristotle and the fourfold theory of causation by Aristotle. Students, coming to the first topic of today's lecture, the notion of cause in Western philosophy. Let's study what the notion of cause of Western philosophy teaches us. During the initial period of Western philosophy, the action of looking so thoughtfully about reality come to be known as cosmology. So, cosmology is the action of looking thoughtfully about reality. This gave rise to an important question related to monism. This question was, how did everything originate from single fundamental principle? There were three issues addressed in this period regarding the origination of everything from the single fundamental principle. These issues were 1. The basic element of ultimate reality. 2. The change that occurred in them. 3. The motion required for this change. But the pre-Socrates philosophy after Parmenides and Heraclitus reflects over the question whether these basic elements of the universe are fundamentally dynamic in nature or they receive motion from some external source. It was being studied earlier that the item of the four basic elements, that is, elements get motion from two forces. These two forces are attraction and repulsion. Empedocles said that items are continuously composed and decomposed due to this motion. According to Democritus also, items are inherently dynamic. While moving in an empty space, they get bound together due to their different shapes and again move away from each other because of motion. Atomists believe that the process of integration and disintegration continue in a purposeless and mechanical manner. But these integration and disintegration in the later period have been changed. Here, philosophers first inclined to believe that the process of change are not mechanical. Like, according to Plato's theory of two worlds, nothing changed in the world of form. The problem of change was of little importance to Plato. He believed that the world of form is the highest reality. The main reason for not believing that the particular are real was that they change and perish. According to Plato, the form in the intellectual world are the ideal or perfect form of the particular. He was of the opinion that every particle makes effort to reach this ideal. The main motivation behind the change is the desire to reach the ideal. Since he did not consider the world of the particle to be ultimate reality, he did not felt the need to think deeper about the change that occur in this world. So this was Plato's view about the process of change. Coming to the Western philosopher Aristotle. Let us see what is Aristotle's view regarding the change. Aristotle believed in the phenomena of change because he believed that the world of experience is the only world that exists. Aristotle accepted the teleological perspective, according to him, to which the change that occurs in nature has some purpose and end. Change is the characteristic of everything that exists in the world. He knew that the motion was required for change. That is why in his metaphysics he considered that change and motion is important. His view about causation have been presented. When an object undergoes change, its state before change is different from the one after change. Aristotle classified change into 4 types on the basis of these differences. These 4 types are qualitative, quantitative, spectral, and substantial. For example, when a mango ripens, its color changes from green to orange-yellow. Its sour taste decreases as sweetness increases, and it also becomes soft. All these are qualitative change. A small raw mango changes into large mango. This is a qualitative change. Or when from a single banyan tree, several aerial roots form, this is also a qualitative change. The mango which is on the tree falls on the ground, then goes into the boxes of mango and finally into someone's house. This is the change that occurs in the place of mango. A mango is formed from the flower and it gets destroyed after being eaten. This change are substantial change. The first 3 types of change occur in the substance, but the last change is of the nature of creation or destruction of substance. Hopefully, you have not forgotten that the substance is the most significant, fundamental aspect or category of everything that exists. In case the first 3 changes, the substance in which they occur remain constant. However, this is not so in the case of a substantial changes. Whatever may be the type of change, it is necessarily occur due to some reason or other. In Greek language of Aristotelian period, the term cause was used in a much wider sense. That is, in all the change there is certain cause for it. Whichever factor were responsible for the existence of an object, all of them were referred to be as cause. Here the term responsibility is not used in a moral or legal senses. The element responsible for existence of an object or an event are the ones without which the object or an event cannot exist. In a book in the library is found torn. The authority looked for the person responsible for tearing the book, intentionally or unintentionally. This is the sense in which the word responsible is generally used. But basically, in order to be torn, a book must first exist. This book is created from something and it has a particular shape. It is created by someone with some purpose. It means the paper, the shape in which it is created, the person who gave the shape and the purpose for which it is made are the four factors responsible for existence of the book. That is, there are cause for its existence. So let's study the another thing, that is fourfold theory of causation. Aristotle's fourfold theory of causation. This theory of causation classifies cause into four types. These four types are material cause, formal cause, efficient cause, and final cause. Let's understand it with an example. The substance in which change occurs or an object is created is a material cause. Example, stone is a material cause of sculpture. Final cause, the idea or image in the mind which determines the shape of object. That idea or image is the formal cause. Example, the idea in the mind of the sculptor of a sculpture. Efficient cause, the force or the individual which gives a shape to the material cause is an efficient cause. Example, sculptor. Final cause, the purpose with which an object is created is the final cause. Example, the purpose behind the creation of a sculpture. Aristotle's explanation is easily applicable to the man-made object. But while explaining natural objects and the change that occur in them, a few other concepts need to be considered. Aristotle believed that all living beings, from plant to human being, have souls. This Greek or psyche is Greek language, especially the principle of motion. Living beings can move by themselves, since this principle is inherent in their nature. Inanimate objects cannot move without external force. For movement of these external energies is required. Living things cannot require such energy. They are an operating force in their body, due to which growth in their body takes place. Under condensive conditions, it is because of these forces that the seed germinates. The germs transform into a sapling transforms into a tree. The tree grows flowers and fruit, and again seeds are reproduced. These types of change occurring in living beings are caused by these internal forces. Aristotle used the Greek word intelation for this force. Whether a being is living or non-living, it cannot change without motion. Non-living things are moved by external objects. If this object is also inanimated, then there has been a third object which moves it. That is how the inquiry with respect to the source of motion takes us from more to more backward in the process. If this inquiry is endless, then it would never be complete. Logically, this is called a state of infinity regression. In order to avoid the infinity regression, Aristotle proposed the idea of God. God as unmoved mover. According to this idea, there is not even an iota of matter in God. He is a pure form, and there are no dormant potentiality in him. All his power exists is actuality. So he does not need to make any movement or perform any action. He himself is non-moving, that is, not performing any action. But because of this nature of God, the world, created from material substance and form, a great attracted on its draw one towards him. In this way, God becomes the mover, even if he himself is unmoved. However, Aristotle, God is not the creator of the world. Like God, the world exists externally, but it gets its motion from God. This was Aristotle's view or his theory of causation.